Hi, I'm Raymond Nicholl. I'm the Director of Housing and Development for Triangle Housing Association. Triangle is a medium-sized housing association. We're based in Ballymoney in County Antrim. We currently have just over 700 units of accommodation, 2/3 of which would be supported housing, predominantly for learning disability, but for a range of other client groups as well. Triangle would provide accommodation throughout the province and all areas of Northern Ireland. Predominantly most of our housing would be in the north east of the province, from Coleraine down to North Down. We would have accommodation in the western area of the province. Most of that would be agency managed supported housing, but we are growing into areas such as Mid-Ulster as well. We would have about currently 104 units of accommodation on site under construction, or properties that we've built and we're just doing some work to. And we have plans then to start another 100 units per year over the next 3 years. Now, what types of accommodation is that? Our target would be, out of that 100, about 80 units would be general needs, 20 would be supported housing. Now, the mixture has changed slightly, more out of realism and pragmatism. Our focus really would be on ideally providing for supported housing need. Out of the units we have on site, about 66% of those would be for supported housing schemes. Now, there's a wide range of client groups, again, learning disability schemes, but we have some mental health schemes. We have a scheme for physical disability, brain injury clients. We also have schemes for young people leaving care, general homeless. So a wide variety of housing projects, all focused around the individual and their specific needs. So what we're trying to do is address the housing need, but we're also trying to address the wider needs of the individual as well. Now, some of those schemes we would directly manage. We provide not only the housing, but we also provide the care and the support as well. But in others, we're actually working with other organisations. Again, we would try to work with whoever we feel has the right expertise to provide that service. Again, the focus being on the individual and who's best placed to meet the needs of that person at that particular time. Well, Triangle's vision is simply to build better lives for people, and I think, providing a home for someone, their own home, is fundamental to that vision. Building a better life for that person is obviously critical to their quality of life. It's critical to their health and well-being. So obviously we see the provision of the home as the first stage in trying to build a better life for an individual. Obviously Triangle does other things on top of that. We also provide care and support to help people to live independently if they need that. But we also help people to find jobs and employment as well. So we feel that the housing is the core, and that provides the basis for someone to live a prosperous and a fulfilling life within their community.
Why do we need new supported housing, and who is being supported by the homes that you build?
Yeah, well, fundamentally we need supported housing because there is a great need there. I mean, over the last 3 years, a lot of the need has been focused on resettling individuals who have been living in long stay hospitals for far too long. Some people have been living in long stay hospitals for up to 30 years, simply because there has been no accommodation in the community for them. So over the last 3 years, Triangle has delivered about 2/3 of the Muckamore resettlement programme. Overall, in terms of supported housing, we've delivered about a quarter of the supported housing programme over the last 3 years. So there's clearly a need there. And obviously there's still one too many individuals still in long stay hospitals. So that's something that we do need to address. But beyond that, there's a lot of untapped need within the community. People with, say for example, a learning disability living with their parents. And that's something that we are keen to see addressed. We recognise funding as a problem and there's a key constraint, but we would be keen to lobby to make sure that need is addressed and there's a proper plan post-resettlement to meet the needs of those individuals. But also, we're committed to doing it because it transforms people's lives. And one of the things that really keeps me doing this job is when you eventually go out and see someone in their home and you talk to them and you see the massive impact it makes on that person having their own home, probably for the first time in many, many years. Oh, undoubtedly so. I mean, there are challenges generally for providing social housing. For example, there's a lot of opposition throughout the province, no matter what type of accommodation you're trying to provide. But yes, certainly in terms of supported housing, there would be additional challenges on top of that. In terms of opposition, yes, we would face a lot of opposition within communities when you're proposing to provide a supported housing scheme for individuals. A lot of that stems from lack of awareness about what we're trying to do, about the needs of the individuals, and sometimes fear of the unknown. So a lot of our challenges are about providing information to people to convince them that what we're doing is actually going to have a positive impact on our future tenants, but also our future tenants will play a very positive and an active role in the communities that they're going to be living in. So opposition, yes. I think, I would argue there needs to be more education and possibly at the highest levels of government awareness raising about the positive effects of resettlement and about supported housing. Sometimes we hear the bad news stories, but we don't necessarily celebrate the good news, and that's something I think that we all need to focus on. Other challenges as well would be around the process of trying to commission new supported housing schemes. It's very complicated. You have a range of public sector bodies involved in it, multiple funding streams, and it takes a long time to plan these and to get them on the ground. And I think the area of risk sharing is something that we would see as something that needs to be addressed. Triangle has been quite prepared, and Triangle's board have been quite open about taking risks because we are committed to providing supported housing, but we feel that particularly with the challenges ahead, that there should be greater sharing of risks among all the bodies involved. As I've already said, Triangle has delivered about a third of the resettlement programme over the last 3 years. We would love to do that over the next 3 years, although it's going to be challenging with the general economic situation. But our target would be to start 100 units per year. We would love to do as many of those 100 to be supported housing units. Realistically, we believe that probably in around 20 to 30 starts per year would be what we can realistically achieve. But we would love to do more, and we'd love to talk to government, we'd love to talk to ministers, we'd love to talk to whoever will listen to us to sell that message about supported housing and the benefits it has to communities and to society in general. Well, I would say if I wanted to distill it into one simple thing, the biggest frustration I have is time. The amount of time that it takes to translate an initial idea for a scheme into an actual scheme for individuals. It takes far, far too long. There are a lot of people I understand need to be involved in decisions. There's a lot of funding streams that need to be brought together. People have to find the money. It has to be found at the right time. But for an individual who's living in a long stay hospital, it shouldn't take 3 years from the first time that we identify a need to provide a home for them. So I would love to speed up the process. I would love to simplify the process. I would love to make sure that we're providing the houses for individuals much quicker, to make sure that we're building better lives for them and that they can see the benefits of the work that we're doing. To me, the most rewarding aspect of my job is when you actually go into a tenant's home, you meet them for the very first time, and you can see the real difference it makes to that person's life, just having a home of their own. And it never ceases to amaze me, and it's always very humbling when you actually talk to a tenant, and particularly in supported housing, and they're telling you what it means to them to have a home of their own, and often the most mundane thing that I would take for granted, I never fully appreciate, I'm not grateful enough for, has the biggest impact on their life. They're so grateful, and it totally transformed their lives. And a simple thing like going out to the shops on their own for the very first time, being able to make their own breakfast, get out of bed when they want to get out of bed, little simple things have a transformative effect on an individual's life. And for me, it's very easy to get involved in the process, very easy to look at how you finance these things. But when you actually go out and meet a tenant in their home, it really emphasises to me that's what I'm here for, and it's worthwhile. And it's worthwhile dealing with all these challenges and dealing with these issues, and it's worthwhile pushing and challenging people about the need for this accommodation.